anytime on or after 23 May 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. If you are a service member or veteran indoors, please stand and come to the position of attention. If you are outdoors, please render the hand salute. If you are a civilian, please place your hand over your heart. Thank you. You may be seated. Now I would like to introduce the friends and families of our commissionees. Please wave to be recognized. We would also like to introduce the distinguished visitors who are here in attendance with us today. Admiral retired Bobby Ray Inman, UT class of 1950. Lieutenant General retired Kenneth Eickmann, UT class of 1967. Major General retired Kenneth Wizian, UT class of 1982. Mr. Michael Cooper, father of Major Chris Cooper, UT class of 1997. Colonel Terry A. Koester, AFROTC Southwest Region Commander. We would also like to recognize the members of the Det 825 cadre who are here. Colonel Paul Tombarge, Commander, Det 825 and Professor of Air Force Science. Major Ian Wynn, Operations Officer, Det 825 and Associate Professor of Air Force Science. Captain Gabrielle Zuniga, Operations Flight Commander, Det 825, Assistant Professor of Air Force Science. Second Lieutenant Shannon Candell, Gold Bar Recruiter, Det 825. Master Sergeant Andrew Reams, Sub-Region Superintendent, Det 825. Staff Sergeant Elena Rodriguez, Non-Commissioned Officer in Charge, Administration, Det 825. Mr. David Harper, Administrative Associate, Det A25. Lastly, thank you to all the Longhorn Airmen who are virtually supporting our soon-to-be lieutenants. Now it is my great honor to introduce Detachment A25's Commander, Colonel Paul Tombarge.
Good morning, everyone. Admiral Inman, Lieutenant General Eickmann, Major General Wizian, Colonel Koester, Mr. Cooper, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Spring 2020 commissioning ceremony, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today for this momentous occasion, the commissioning of the class of 2020 as second lieutenants in the United States Air Force. For the parents, grandparents, and families of these cadets, I congratulate you on the guidance and nurturing you provided these young men and women. You laid the foundation upon which the cadre here at Detachment 825, both past and present, have built a framework of education, military training, and character development. Choosing a military career is an admirable and unselfish decision, the kind made by men and women raised in environments where responsibility, loyalty, and service matter. Military service demands these qualities, and we have you to thank for showing our new commissionees the way. You should be very proud of the positive character traits you've instilled in them. For the 14 cadets preparing to commission, today is the end of a chapter. You spent the last 4 years earning your academic degrees, some of you more. This is no small accomplishment. Only 35% of Americans have obtained a bachelor's degree, so you should be very proud of crossing this academic threshold. But you all did even more. On top of your arduous academic work, you completed the Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps program. In doing so, you decided to be part of something bigger than yourselves. You stepped forward to protect and defend the rest of the nation. Less than half of 1% of Americans are actively serving in the military today. Your courage, commitment, and willingness to go to distant lands to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, to defend our nation's interests, to protect and defend people of you have never met, makes you part of something truly special. During these past 4 years, you have increased your knowledge and your confidence, and you have grown both as leaders and as individuals. So today is a day to proudly celebrate your achievements and your potential. But as this chapter in your lives comes to a close, you're about to begin another chapter. A chapter in a long and distinguished book written in blood, sweat, and tears by those who came before you. You're about to join the profession of arms. In doing so, the nation is placing special trust and confidence in your patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities. The gold bars about to be pinned on your shoulders weigh only a few ounces, but the weight of what they represent is extraordinary. As Air Force officers, you will be given a great deal of responsibility very quickly. Some of you will be responsible for procuring major weapon systems. Some of you will be at the controls of multi-million-dollar aircraft. Some of you will be responsible for the maintenance and mission readiness of those aircraft. And some of you will be responsible for providing intelligence and force support to thousands of personnel. But most importantly, you're not just a pilot, a maintenance officer, an intelligence officer, a force support officer, a contracting officer, or a public affairs officer. You are Air Force officers. You are leaders of airmen. You will be responsible for the lives of those under your command. You'll be called upon to lead them through difficult situations with wisdom, courage, and compassion. That's a daunting task, but I know that you're all ready for this challenge. 28 years ago, I stood on stage and took the oath of office that you will take in a few short minutes. It seems like it was just yesterday, but when I look in the mirror, I realize it was actually a long time ago. Time enough for 14 permanent assignments, 94 temporary duty assignments, 8 years living overseas, the need to wear these eyeglasses, and countless friends, experiences, and memories along the way. The future that lies ahead for you will be full of both challenges and opportunities. Where exactly it will take you, I don't know. But I do know that the challenges you face will be very different from those of my generation. I also know that it will be an amazing and rewarding journey. As you prepare to depart on your journey, I want to leave you with a few thoughts that might help you along the way. First, strive to be credible, humble, and approachable. Credibility is not something that you're given. It's not something that comes with rank or title. It's a process. Your credibility started long ago, and it will continue throughout your career. You can't lead effectively and execute your mission unless you know your job and your weapon system inside and out. Strive to be an expert in your field. Learn as much as you possibly can about your weapon system, your trade, and your organization every single day. Understand your mission and how it supports the next 2 echelons above you. And ensure the echelon below you fully understands your commander's intent and how it supports the mission. But be humble enough to realize that you will never know everything. Listen to those around you, learn from them, and leverage their strengths, whether it's your most junior airman or a general officer. You may stumble, and that's okay. It's how we learn and grow. If you make a mistake, own it. Admit your faults, learn from them, and move on. If you do these things, you'll gain the trust of your subordinates and your superiors. If you don't do these things, you can lose your credibility in an instant. Second, take care of your people. We are a technological military service. However, it is enthusiastic people who feel valued, not technology, that get the mission done. Provide your team with a vision, equip them with the tools they need, let them take ownership, and empower them to succeed. Your job as a leader is to remove the roadblocks to their success. A critical aspect of taking care of your people and removing roadblocks to their success is your approachability. Approachability doesn't just mean that you have a so-called open door policy. It means you need to get out of your office, visit your people, and get to know them, their talents, their desires, their goals. Ask them what they need to do their jobs better. Ask them how you can support them. Go out of your way to prepare those who will take your place. Take care of your people, help them succeed, and they will take care of the mission. Third, never stop learning. As my wise grandfather told me, you can never have too much education. You'll be given opportunities to learn and grow throughout your career. It may be an opportunity to take on an additional duty. It may be a 2-day training course on base. It may be a year-long professional military education course, or it may be an advanced academic degree. Whatever it is, have the courage to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. For if you're not stepping outside your comfort zone, you probably aren't learning and growing. Step forward and take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way, and learn as much as you can from every experience. Be ready when your opportunity comes. Finally, have fun. If you maintain a balance in your life and you enjoy what you do, you will be successful. In a few minutes, each of you will take the oath of office. The oath you take is not to a sovereign ruler or to a political party, but to a set of ideas embodied in our Constitution. And you are swearing to support and defend those ideals against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. This is one of the things about the United States military that sets it apart from all other militaries across the world. You are about to join the profession of arms. You are about to carry the weight of gold bars and what they represent on your shoulders. Do so proudly, because I'm proud of what each and every one of you has accomplished and what I know you will accomplish on active duty. I know that I'm the only thing standing between you and those gold bars, so I will now depart the virtual stage. Cadet Mauricio, let's commission these lieutenants.
All right, Colonel Tombarge. We are now ready to begin the much anticipated portion of the ceremony, the oaths of office. The military oath dates back to ancient Rome, where soldiers pledged loyalty to a specific general for a specific campaign. After the campaign ended, the oath no longer applied. By 100 BC, Rome had established a professional military, and the oath became effective for the soldiers' full 20-year service. Since then, this custom has continued on to a modern military service. Only upon completion of the oath of office can the president commission a cadet as an officer in the United States Armed Forces. Additionally, in our ceremony today, some of our cadets will be conducting a first salute. No one is certain of when the first salute ceremony began, but it is thought to have its origins in British regiments who were stationed in America during the colonial era. Young officers would compensate their senior enlisted advisors with small sums of money. In the early 1800s, young American officers received $1 additional a month in their paychecks that was specifically earmarked for senior enlisted advisor compensation. And while officers no longer receive this money in their paycheck, senior enlisted members still guide and mentor young officers. As a recognition of this unique relationship, officers award the first enlisted member who salutes them with a silver dollar. The first salutes will immediately follow the pinning on of officer ranks. We will begin with our first commissionee, Mason Blades Arhelger. Cadet Arhelger graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration in Management Information Systems. He is commissioning as a Pilot Select and will report to Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by Colonel Paul Tombarge. Colonel Tombarge and Cadet Arhelger, you may now unmute your microphones.
Well, before I administer the oath to Cadet Arhelger, I would like to say a few words about him. And that is fitting because Cadet Arhelger is a man of few words. Although he has a great command presence, his confidence, and is able to make quick decisions, he's also a humble, quiet leader who tends to avoid the spotlight. He prefers to work hard behind the scenes to make things happen. Mason began his journey at Austin Community College, one of our 5 crosstown schools, where cadets are able to participate in Air Force ROTC here at the University of Texas at Austin, while they work on their degrees at a different college and university in the local area. Let me tell you a little bit about the challenge of being a crosstown cadet. These crosstown cadets have to travel back and forth between campuses several times per week at various hours of the day in order to attend early morning physical fitness workouts, leadership laboratory, and our ROTC academic classes here at UT. Over the past 7 years, we've had 34 crosstown cadets. Of those 34, only 4 have made it to commissioning. That's an 11% success rate. 2 of those lieutenants graduated from Houston-Tillotson University in 2016 and 2017, while the other 2 transferred from Austin Community College to the University of Texas at Austin and will commission this year. Cadet Arhelger is one of those 2, one of the few crosstown students that makes it to the finish line. But he did more than just complete the program. He so impressed my predecessor that he earned a very competitive in-college scholarship. And he also succeeded in another very competitive arena. He earned a coveted pilot slot. He used his time in the professional officer course to gain experience as a public affairs officer, as the public affairs squadron commander, and he's finishing this year as the field training preparation flight commander. Our sophomore cadets who are heading out to field training this summer are now knowledgeable, proficient, and confident, and I know that they will succeed due to Cadet Arhelger's efforts over the past year. I know he will take these experiences with him on active duty, and I look forward to hearing great things about him in the future. Cadet Arhelger, are you ready to take your oath and become a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mason Arhelger,
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
Lieutenant Arhelger's ranks are being pinned on by Clayton and Joni Arhelger.
No, I think you're good. Sorry. Are you good? Got it. Thank you very much.
Our next commissionee is Victoria Isabel Blom. Cadet Blom graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Government. She is commissioning as an intelligence officer and will report to Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Colonel Paul Tombarge. Colonel Tombarge and Cadet Blom, you may now unmute your microphones.
Welcome, Cadet Blom. I see we're standing in exactly the same place. Although Cadet Blom was a junior when I arrived at Detachment 825 and I teach the senior class, she was one of the first cadets that I met upon arrival. In fact, shortly after I arrived, she made an appointment with me just to sit down and talk, to learn about my background as a space operations officer and as a foreign area officer. Not many college students are willing to take the time to ask for mentoring, let alone from the detachment commander, but that's one thing that sets Cadet Blom apart, her drive and her tenacity. Cadet Blom started at UT San Antonio before transferring up here to UT Austin. Like myself, she was a non-scholarship cadet, put herself through college, balancing work, academics, and Air Force ROTC. Ended up earning a degree in political science and selection as an intelligence officer. Not only is Cadet Blom hardworking and tenacious, she is also consistent. She's a great communicator, is reliable, is very involved, and she is the consummate professional. She's used her time as a cadet effectively. As a junior, she led the Detachment Honor Guard, the only junior cadet in a leadership position. And she went on to serve as a cadet recruiting officer, as a field training preparation squadron commander. And although it's her final semester, she wanted to do what she could to give back and improve the program, so she's finishing her Air Force RTC career as the vice commander of our cadet wing. In recognition of her leadership and performance, she was selected as our 2020 Lieutenant Colonel Herbert C. White Scholar and our 2020 Lieutenant General Eickmann Outstanding Graduate Award winner. Cadet Blom, you're going to make an outstanding intelligence officer and an Air Force leader. Are you ready to take your oath and become a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Victoria Blom,
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Blom.
Lieutenant Blom's ranks are being pinned on by Ronin Tamez, Kelsey Kallman, and Alexandra Sears. Our next commissionee is Amber Nicole Chambers. Cadet Chambers graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Public Health. She is commissioning as a Force Support Officer and will report to Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Major Ian Wynn. Major Wynn and Cadet Chambers, you may now unmute your microphones.
All right. So before I address Cadet Chambers, I'd like to talk to all the commissionees as a whole. You know, as an instructor here, we often come to this assignment, and if we're lucky enough, we'll get to see the cadets that we started off with commission. So the commissionees, and today, this was my class. So they hold a special place in my heart because I now get to see them as brand new lieutenants. So to all the family and friends that are out there, I'd like to talk a little bit about their journey as a whole. So this journey to become a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force isn't an easy one. In fact, for 4 years, they're grinding it out every single day. And when they get to this point, In the classroom, they spent 1,792 hours worth of classroom time, right? They had a lot of early morning PTs. In 4 years, they woke up early, usually twice a week, 6 a.m. for an hour, 224 times. But what's most important is twice a week, they went out and they exercised what they learned in the classroom and applied it into what we call a leadership laboratory, where they hone their skills to make sure that they're ready to become a second lieutenant. And they did this 210 times in 4 years. That's a lot of practice. That's a lot of perseverance. That's a lot of commitment. And that's why this day is so special for these soon-to-be lieutenants. One time at PT, I remember I told a story about people climbing Mount Everest and why anyone would ever want to climb Mount Everest. Right? And so a 60-minute broadcast was on TV, and the interviewer was interviewing someone who climbed Mount Everest. He's like, why do you do it? You know, you understand that people die, it's tough. You know, why do you go through this pain to go climb this mountain? And the climber responded back by saying, well, you've never seen the view from the top. This translates well, I believe, to all the cadets that we're witnessing today. They climbed this mountain to get to this point. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was very difficult. A lot of people couldn't make it. They had to go through personal hard times, financial tough times, right? What we're facing right now, they stuck with it. And hopefully what they see today is a great view from the top. So with that said, I'll talk a little bit about Cadet Chambers. Cadet Chambers, she is one of those cadets that you love in the class, right? As an instructor, if you're having a bad day, if you don't think your jokes are funny, you can always rely on Cadet Chambers to laugh at your jokes, right? And I know a lot of my jokes weren't funny, Cadet Chambers, so you don't have to tell me they were. Okay, I know that they weren't. Cadet Chambers, here's a funny story about Cadet Chambers. Of course, I always like to tell a funny story, right? So last year during a parade, about the same time now actually, I was out there and I knew Cadet Chambers was going to get a pretty high visibility scholarship afterwards, after the parade, right? So she's going to be in front of family and friends to get this scholarship, but we have to do the parade first. And I'm watching, I'm like, why am I getting blinded? Well, it turns out that instead of wearing black socks, Cadet Chambers was wearing white socks. So every time she marched, I saw those white socks just blind me, right? I'm like, oh no. So afterwards, I went up to Cadet Chambers and I said, hey, listen, you know, you're gonna get this award right after this. You gotta find some black socks. I don't know how she did it, but by the time the award ceremony happened, about an hour later, she was wearing black socks. So I'm not gonna ask how you would retrieve those black socks, but that is definitely the best GLP that you've ever completed there, Cadet Chambers. So good on you. But like I said, she is she literally is the detachment cheerleader. She will bring you up if you're having a bad day. She was our first ever chaplain, right? First ever chaplain that we created this position because we felt that she was the right person for that. And, you know, right after she won that scholarship, if you don't, hopefully you remember this, Cadet Chambers, but I sat down with you and I said, listen, congratulations on the scholarship, but can you promise me that you're going to be 100% committed to making sure that the intent of the scholarship is fully carried out? And you looked me straight in my eyes and said, yes, sir, I can. And you absolutely have done that, Cadet Chambers. Afterwards, I think you were accepted to your sorority in the first try there, right? You got the job that you wanted. So everything that you did, everything you achieved from that point on really showed that you were committed to the process, and here you are today. So, you know, we say good luck to you. I know that you're going to be a great force support officer. All right, if you're ready, Cadet Chambers, we'll do the oath of office.
Let's get it, sir.
Okay. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Amber Nicole Chambers,
Having been appointed as Second Lieutenant United States Air Force,
having been appointed as Second Lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Lieutenant Chambers' ranks are being pinned on by Clifford and Latonia Chambers, as well as Richard and Tiffany Lee.
Come on in.
Lieutenant Chambers' first salute will be rendered. I'm not sure if you heard me, but Lieutenant Chambers' first salute will be rendered by Mr. Richard Lee, Sergeant, United States Army. Please unmute your microphone and verbally render the greeting of the day.
Morning, Matt.
Morning.
Our next commissionee is Seiler Hess. Cadet Hess graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. He is commissioning as a pilot select and will report to Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by Colonel Retired Derek Hess. Colonel Hess and Cadet Hess, you may now unmute your microphone.
It's a great day to be an airman. We are, as your commander said, we are here to turn the page in history, a history that started for this family in 1954, and cast a long shadow over all that we do as airmen. Your accolades that you have achieved are many. The field training, the distinguished graduate, the earning a pilot slot, all of those are amazing things that you've accomplished in your short career so far. But they are runway behind you now as you continue on to what will be a great career in the U.S. Air Force. As family, as an Air Force family, we are all very proud of you. To Colin, thanks for pushing him like your dad pushed me. I made him tough. I have been the son, an airman, and the father of an airman. And I got to tell you, being the parent is the way harder job than any of those other jobs. So, to Darren, thank you for learning your son to the nation. Thank you for raising. To Clarice, thanks for joining this family, or about to join this family. And I hope very much that the adventure that the two of you are about to start as you do turn this page, happy adventure that your Aunt Barb and I had, it will be a great fun. So thank you again for your dedication to our nation, your service to our nation, and it's time to make this a sir. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Seiler Hess,
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lieutenant Hess's ranks are being pinned on by Clarice Norton, Kay, Jane, Darren, and Cullen Hess. Our next commissionee is Kelsey Kallman. Cadet Kallman graduated with a Bachelor of Science and Arts in Biochemistry. She is commissioning as an aircraft maintenance officer and will report to Hill Air Force Base, Utah upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Lieutenant Michael Adams. Lieutenant Adams and Cadet Kallman, you may now unmute your microphones.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry, there's a plane noise in the background, but it's, a little fitting here when you're being commissioned by a pilot there, Kelsey. A few words here. I first heard from the soon-to-be Lieutenant Kelsey Kallman several years ago while sitting with my friend Danielle somewhere pretty far across campus. She quickly walked up and, with her golden smile, confidently and loudly introduced herself. A memorable event indeed. What she maybe didn't know then, but certainly knows now, is that making yourself memorable in all the best ways is a good thing in one's life and also in one's work. I think her accomplishments so far attest to this reality. So many of you know, as was just stated, she's graduating with a degree in biochemistry from UT, which is not an easy feat. She's commissioning here as a distinguished graduate. She recently ran a half marathon at breakneck pace, I might add. She also completed the, which I'm pretty proud of her for, the Yeti Running Club Challenge from Utah, where she's going. A grueling event in which she ran 5 miles every 4 hours for a full day. I told her I'd run with her, but I was feeling a little old and I only ran 2 legs, sadly. She accomplished the proceeding all while finding a job and working at Target, no easy feat in the midst of a pandemic. I think she's rightfully earned the title she's about to assume. Kelsey, she reports to Hill Air Force Base as a maintenance officer. Sometime in the nefarious future, we'll also oversee a large cohort of people. Kelsey, you're going to feel at times like you're merely but a cog in a machine. But I want to offer something to you. Don't accept that unreality for yourself or those who will inevitably look up to you. Keep your independence of mind that's so valuable in your kind heart, as they won't fail when other systems inevitably do. Many officers don't have the opportunity to commission a friend into service of the United States, but I'm honored to do so this morning, albeit virtually and 1,800 miles away. That said, Kelsey, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Kelsey Kallman,
Having been appointed
a
second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
that
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely,
That I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Kallman's ranks are being pinned on by Lieutenant Victoria Blom, Alexandra Sears, and Ronin Tamez.
Thanks, Rohan.
Lieutenant Kallman's first salute will be rendered by Mr. John Paul Freese, Staff Sergeant, United States Army. Please unmute your microphone and verbally render the greeting of the day.
Good morning, Lieutenant Kallman.
Good morning. Thanks, Granddad.
Our next commissionee is Angela Kvitek. Cadet Kvitek graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Asian Studies. She is commissioning as a pilot select and will report to Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Major Ian Wynn. Major Wynn and Cadet Kvitek, you may now unmute your microphones.
Okay, Cadet Kvitek, here we are. So I'll start out with a funny story about Cadet Kvitek. It was my first semester, and I'm at Leadership Laboratory at LBJ. So Cadet Kvitek was a young FTP cadet at that time, right? And it was my first time out there on the job. Responsibility is great, watching these cadets. And they're marching from LBJ back to the detachment. And all of a sudden, I see someone fall out, and I look over and it's Cadet Kvitek. Apparently she was marching, she took a wrong step there and twisted her ankle a little bit, right? And so she had to be carried all the way back. And in my head, I was thinking, great, first day on the job, and we have this one cadet who is already falling out and hurting herself. Is she gonna be my problem child for the next 3 years? But the reality is, that was the last time I actually have to worry about Cadet Kvitek and her performance. She's the type of person that you want to fight for. She's the type of person that you see the drive and desire in her eyes. And a couple of points that really illustrate this is number one, is that she was instrumental in seeing if there's anything that can occur that can help out our cadets here financially. And so what she said was, listen, a lot of our classes, I feel they should be counted for ethics credit, right? Instead of making cadets pay for these classes, why not have ROTC count for them? And I was like, that was a good idea, right? And I kind of brushed it off. And then she was pretty persistent about it. It's like, sir, did you follow up with this? What do you think? I was like, okay, fine. I'll see what I can do. And we went forth. And the reality is, after months of going back and forth, the university came back and said, you're absolutely right. So the graduates now may not have felt that, not even the 300s, but guess what? If there's AS 100s or 200s online right now, Cadet Kvitek saved you a lot of money. Because now you don't have to worry about taking those ethic courses, because what you have in ROTC will fulfill that, and it's all due to it. Second thing is, another thing I learned about her is her desire to be a pilot. This was made known pretty early of what she wanted to do. In fact, this was the only thing she wanted to do. And I was like, okay, great. You know, your scores look great. Everything looks great. You know, your leadership, everything's fine, right? It's like, you're good to go. And then I started checking her medical stuff, and I realized, like, uh-oh, you're not qualified at Kvitek. It's because you're just too short, okay? And I didn't break the news to her. It's like, listen, you're too short. Right now, you're not qualified to be a pilot. And so Sergeant Caballero, when she was here, myself, Sergeant Reams, and Cadet Kvitek, we devised every type of way to get her taller. We had stretching, exercises that she can do. We did everything we can, right? We did it again, and unfortunately, she just didn't meet the height requirement. If you read the regulations by the books, it should say that if you do not meet the height regulations, then the instructor should tell the cadet that they're not qualified. I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't bear the fact to tell Cadet Kvitek that I was going to ruin her dream here at the detachment. So whether it was right or wrong, we adjusted the numbers a little bit to get her into that gray area so that she had a chance to go to Right Pat to get the flight physical. And she went to Right Pat, and it's all about timing in the Air Force, right? And at this time, guess what came down? A waiver for those who did not meet the height requirements. If we weren't able to do that, if we didn't see the drive that we felt in Cadet Kvitek, we may have just ended right there. But because we saw her potential, her commitment, then that's the type of person she is. Right? It makes people to work even harder for her, because I know that she'll work hard for other people. She capstoned her career here in ROTC by this semester being named a distinguished graduate for the College of Liberal Arts, a very high honor that anytime she wants to go back to the University of Texas, she can go through the halls and see her name on there for a lifetime. So Cadet Kvitek, congratulations. You made it. Soon you'll be living your dream, and please don't forget about us, all right? So if you are ready, we'll start your oath of office.
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Angela Kvitek,
Have been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, sir.
Lieutenant Kvitek's ranks are being pinned on by Andrea Phillips and Kazuma Sakamoto. Our next commissionee is Garrett Jacob McGill. Cadet McGill graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in History. He is commissioning as an intelligence officer and will report to Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by Major Ian Wynn. Major Wynn and Cadet McGill, you may now unmute your microphones.
All right. So Cadet McGill, start with a funny story with Cadet McGill. You know, oftentimes we use acronyms that are very known to us, those who serve in the military, and one of those acronyms is COB, right? Close of business. Everyone knows what that is, or everyone assumes they know what it is. Because of Cadet McGill, I've tweaked that acronym a little bit, and I call them the McGill rule. And that is, the first time I've used this in addressing the 300s, I can always be assured that when I say close of business, I probably will get an email for the assignment from Garrett McGill at probably like 11:59 p.m., right? So because of that, I said, Cadet McGill, it's 1600, okay? He will get it done, right? He will always turn in an assignment, but it's always right when the deadline hits, okay? But he gets the job done, so that's a funny story about him. He also is very honest. He's a very honest guy. He doesn't mince his words. And, you know, Cadet McGill is a history major. And so when he took my class is mainly about leadership. So not a lot of history, not a lot about operational Air Force, about leadership. Right? And so he took my class for the whole year. And then next year, he was in Colonel Tom Barge's class. So I walked up to McGill and he said, hey, McGill, do you enjoy the new lessons? He's like, oh, absolutely, sir. It's a lot better than your class. So, you know, that's the type of guy Cadet McGill is. You know, he speaks his mind because he speaks from his heart. Right? He's honest. He'll tell you how he feels, and you'll never have to guess what his intentions are. He was one of the 2 cadets that got a scholarship while he was at the university. And I remember him coming in to interview, very well dressed, very well spoken. And I felt the commitment and the passion of why he wants to be here. Right? And what I felt during the interview was the money part was secondary, but the real reason why he was interviewing is to show that he has what it takes to be a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. And that's why we're here. So Cadet McGill is one of my best briefers. I know that he is going into the intel community, but I will constantly tell him that if he ever thinks of being a JAG officer, you have a bright future there if you ever decide to cross-train over. So Cadet McGill is always at the detachment. Right? Every time I walk by, he's there. He's there supporting. He's there engaging with the cadets. If there is a grog video, if there's something that needs to be done, Cadet McGill will stand up and do it. And that's the type of guy that he is, and that's the type of officer that we need. So we're very proud of you, Cadet McGill. We're here, and we're here to celebrate this monumental day. So if you are ready, let's do your oath of office.
Yes, Major Wynn, I'm ready.
Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Garrett Jacob McGill,
have been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
The duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant McGill's ranks are being pinned on by Brian and Kelly McGill. Our next commissionee is Briana Nicole Rogers. Cadet Rogers graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration in International Business. She is commissioning as a Force Support Officer and will report to Royal Air Force Lakenheath, England, upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Major Ian Wynn. Major Wynn and Cadet Rogers, you may now unmute your microphones.
All right, Cadet Rogers, here we are. A few words about Cadet Rogers. The best way for me to describe her, she's a mother hen. Her care and her passion, her love for the people that she worked with is undeniable. And the best example of this was in class, we were doing an exercise where each cadet had to write a few things about them that their peers may not know about them, right, on a piece of paper. That piece of paper was handed to me, and I would read them out loud, and the cadets had to guess who that person was. Very difficult exercise, but at the end of that session, she was the, if I'm not mistaken, either got every single person right or was off by one. It was such an amazing trait. And I wasn't expecting that. In fact, it threw me off the entire lesson because that was not what I wanted to see, right? But I was excited to see that she was able to do that. And I tell you that story to demonstrate that that's one of her natural abilities, is to really understand her people, remember the little things, and then use that to motivate them. Use that to go back and ask how they're doing in that area, because they, she heard that they were having a rough time. She's one of those cadets who work behind the scenes. The ones that doesn't care about being in the spotlight, but the one that really cares about the mission. Okay? In her role as the logistics officer, she transformed that entire position to where it really is where it is today. Okay? She's always looking at ways to improve herself. Whenever there was a roadblock in her path, she understood that it was there, but she came back even stronger. In fact, if you look at her records, she has led in all hierarchy within the chain, whether it's as an action officer, with the flight, squadron commander, group commander, and she knows that she has to do this to improve herself professionally and to grow as a future officer. And because of all that, I know that you're going to be a great logistics officer, force support officer when you're stationed there at the UK. So congratulations, Cadet Rogers. And if you're ready, let's do your oath of office.
Sir.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Briana Rogers,
Have been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Rogers' ranks are being pinned on by Timothy and Tamara Rogers, Marisela Rangel, and Kiara Fields. Our next commissionee is Mara Royse. Cadet Royse graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Global Studies. She is commissioning as a pilot select and will report to Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Colonel Linda Armour. Colonel Armour and Cadet Royse, you may now unmute your microphones.
Good morning, Detachment 825, distinguished visitors and guests. First of all, I would like to tell you what a pleasure it is to be here today to witness the commissioning of such an exceptional group of young leaders. For Mara, thank you for asking me to say a few words and administer your oath. Your entire life has been one adventure after another. You're gonna make me cry. Fear of the unknown is not within your nature. You have been willing to follow me around the world, even attending 3 high schools in 2 different countries, meeting friends, every place you've been. Your stubborn determination, resolve to stand up for what you believe, and desire to be part of a team are what have led you here today. I am so very proud of you. Now it is your turn. From the time you are old enough to raise your hand, I have told you to volunteer for everything. Be a doer, not a spectator. My advice to you today, as you start your Air Force career, is the same. Embrace every opportunity and go change the world. Now, Cadet Royce, it is time to take the oath. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Mara Royse,
Having been appointed a 2nd lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a 2nd lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter,
discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, Mom.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Hi, Liam.
Our next commissionee is Alexandra Sears. Cadet Sears graduated with a Bachelor of Science and Arts in Biology. She is commissioning as an aircraft maintenance officer and will report to Misawa Air Base, Japan, upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Lieutenant Brittany Sturgis. Lieutenant Sturgis and Cadet Sears, you may now unmute your microphones.
So to my soon-to-be Lieutenant Sears, but also my dear friend Alex, I'm so proud of how far you've come today. And now finally, you're gonna be off in the big blue. Meeting you as an excited and always happy freshman, I was glad to be able to see you grow and develop into a confident, compassionate, and determined leader. Seeing you through your downs, like finding out you're gonna be in bowling line, just kidding. Having Watts yell at you during PT, lead lab, and the Woodward Challenge, but as well as your ups, like seeing you leave Maxwell Air Force Base after graduating field training and becoming a POC, as well as being a DT to our candies. I know you're ready for the adventure that the Air Force is gonna bring you on. Things may get hard and you may be faced with new challenges that you never expected, like a worldwide pandemic maybe, but always know you didn't get to where you are today alone. You have your wonderful class here with you, your friends, as well as your family that will continue to help you along your journey. And when times may get hard, keep that bright smile on your face. You've always been a giggling and lighthearted cadet, so don't change that when you become an LT. Continue to wear your heart on your sleeve, bring your bright smile and joyful attitude everywhere you go, and always be the leader your people can count on. I know you'll do amazing as a maintenance officer, and I know your airmen will look to you for a smile, encouraging word, or support as their leader. You will love Japan, and hopefully I can visit soon when all of this stop movement gets lifted and we can travel again. But until then, I'm so happy that I get to do this virtually with you. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff, your oath of office. So Cadet Sears, I'm sorry, I'm gonna move a little. Can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? Let's see. Okay. I state your full name.
I, Alexandra Nicole Sears,
Having been appointed a 2nd lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a 2nd lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States against all enemies,
of the United States against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next commissionee is Cameron Reese Silver. Cadet Silver graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Radio, Television, and Film. He is commissioning as a Public Affairs Officer and will report to Altus Air Force Base, Oklahoma upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by retired Lieutenant Colonel David Toll. Lieutenant Colonel Toll and Cadet Silver, you may now unmute your microphone.
Cameron, over 52 years ago, I was honored and proud to have just completed 4 years of Air Force ROTC training at Memphis State University. At that time, I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force, obtaining one of my primary life goals. The butter bars you and your mom and dad will pin on you today were my original second lieutenant bars at my pinning school. Today you have completed 4 years of Air Force ROTC at the University of Texas after having earned 4-year commander scholarship. I am honored that you have asked me to administer this commissioning oath. During the past 4 years, you have been honing your leadership, management, and personnel skills. From the day on, you moved from being a UT airman to being an Air Force airman, and will move into executing the skills as a first public affairs officer assignment at Altus Air Force Base in Oklahoma. The 97th Mobility Wing there is an Air Education and Training Command, which is the command that I spent several years in. You will support the base leadership by providing accurate and timely public information to show how the base provides multi-engine aircraft training to approximately 3,000 mobility airmen every year. I challenge you to start your first duty assignment bringing your continuously proven A game. In preparation for today's ceremony, I read an Air Force article regarding the role of the public affairs officer. And I quote, "With as much of our information classified for the safety and success of our missions, it can be a challenge for the public to understand our goals. PAOs use their diplomatic expertise to educate the public while safeguarding the details and endeavors from foreign threats. These experts develop strong working relationships with media representatives, as well as serving as a liaison with civilian organizations and other groups to properly share the Air Force story without jeopardizing national security." End quote. Cameron, I will now administer your commissioning oath. Please raise your right hand. I state your full name.
I, Cameron Reese Silver,
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Silver's ranks are being pinned down by Megan and Andrew Toll. Lieutenant Silver's first salute will be rendered by Mr. Wade Zunker, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps. Please unmute your microphones and verbally render the greeting of the day.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Lance Corporal.
Our next commissionee is Thomas John Smith. Cadet Smith graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Chinese. He is commissioning as a contracting officer and will report to Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by Captain John Smith. Captain Smith and Cadet Smith, you may now unmute your microphone.
I state your full name.
I, Thomas John Smith,
Been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Smith's ranks are being pinned down by Michael and Trish Smith. Lieutenant Smith's first salute will be rendered by Cadet Harry Hernberg. Please unmute your microphone and verbally render the greeting of the day to ensure you show up on the screen.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Cadet Hernberg. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Lieutenants, the skills you have already demonstrated at UT Austin leadership will serve the United States Air Force extraordinarily well.
Thank you, Admiral Inman. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Our next commissionee is Ronin Tamez. Cadet Tamez graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. She is commissioning as an aircraft maintenance officer and will report to Osan Air Force Base, South Korea, upon entering active duty. Her oath will be administered by Commander John Paul Tamez. Commander Tamez and Cadet Tamez, you may now unmute your microphones.
Good morning, all. First, Ronin, as we talked about earlier, don't ugly cry. But we do want to know, we want you to know that we are very proud of you. We dragged you around the world to multiple duty stations. We lived in 4 different countries, 8 cities, attended 4 different high schools, and have not only survived, but surpassed expectations. I believe all those experiences will help you continue to be successful. So I do want to take this time to provide some advice. Last month, you asked me to regale the cadets with some Navy traditions. The call dropped before I was able to relate that most of those traditions stem from a crew testing the seaworthiness of a sailor. The crew needed to know that each sailor could be counted on to fight the ship, keep it afloat, and if necessary, save their lives. This is true in every service. Those who you stand shoulder to shoulder with in the field, on the bridge, or on the flight line need to know that they can count on you to do your job, to do what's necessary. So leadership is more than being decisive and providing clear, thoughtful direction. It also means that you need to lead by example. Be a worthy airman. Your team should know that you never ask them to do anything that you would not. That doesn't mean that you do the job for them, but that you would attack it with the same exuberance that you have for your own. Show them what it means to be worthy of being counted amongst those in the past and present who have given some portion of their lives to service. So congratulations to you and your fellow cadets on taking this step to what will be one of the proudest moments of your life. And if anyone wants a signed copy of the speech, let Ronin know. So Cadet Tamez, are you ready to take the oath?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Ronin Tamez,
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Tamez.
Thank you, Commander Tamez.
Lieutenant Tamez ranks are being pinned on by Sasha and Mila Granholt.
Oh, here's.
You got it.
Our final commissionee is Benjamin Edward Taulli. Cadet Taulli graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Government. He is commissioning as an intelligence officer and will report to Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas upon entering active duty. His oath will be administered by Major M.J. Hagar. Major Hagar and Cadet Taulli, you may now unmute your microphones.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this ceremony. General Eickmann, it's good to see you. Mr. Cooper, thank you so much for everything you do for Det 825. I served with your son in ROTC, and he was a great man. And Ben is another great man. I am honored to have this opportunity to administer the oath. Last chance, are you sure you want to do this?
I'm ready.
Okay. We take these oaths very seriously, and I know that you do too. And over the course of my career, I have put a lot of thought into the words in this oath. And I think when I was a cadet, I didn't fully understand what a domestic threat to our Constitution looked like. And we all have to figure out what that means for us. And we all have to understand that this oath is not for the length of our career, but for the endurance and the entirety of our lives. Ben has already stood with me on a metaphorical battleground as we have administered and continued the oath that I know you intended to take all along and that I took years ago, to support and defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And there are domestic threats to our Constitution. And you are giving your country a great gift right now with the service of your life. And we owe you something in return. We owe you a stable foreign policy environment and a government that's going to keep its word to you when you become a veteran. And that's what I'm fighting for. And I know that that's what you're fighting for. And thank you all so much for giving yourselves and your lives to your country. Even for those of you who are going to serve for 4 years, it will change you forever, and you will continue serving your country for the entirety of your life. If I'm going to impart any advice, it is two things, and I think that that's really all you need. You need to always rely on your character when you have difficult times, whether it's a 15-hour day for multiple weeks in a row because of a deployment or for some other reason, the next global crisis that's going to be surely coming along. Or a difficult decision. If you lean back on your commitment to excellence in service, but most importantly, your character and integrity that I have come to know from you, then I know you're going to be successful and you're going to make yourself and your family proud. The other thing is find a good senior NCO and let them mentor you. And that doesn't mean do everything that they say, but boy, you better really think about it before you veto a senior NCO or do something counter and contrary to what they're advising that you do. But I know you well enough to know that you're already going to do those things, and I'm so grateful that you let me come here. You said thank you for coming, and it feels so strange to me because you got a tattoo for me, so this is really the least that I can do for you, and I am honored to be able to do this. So thank you all for serving your country, and thank you for the last time, Cadet Taulli, for serving your country. And if you're ready,
I'm ready.
All right, then raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Benjamin Edward Taulli.
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
That I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
Of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. Thank you.
Lieutenant Taulli's ranks are being pinned on by Corey Dillard, Pamela A.B. Taulli, and Russell Taulli. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest lieutenants in the United States Air Force, our Detachment 825 Spring 2020 Commissioning Class. Congratulations, Lieutenant Mason Arhelger. Congratulations, Lieutenant Victoria Blom. Congratulations, Lieutenant Amber Chambers. Congratulations, Lieutenant Seiler Hess. Congratulations, Lieutenant Kelsey Kallman. Congratulations, Lieutenant Angela Kvitek. Congratulations, Lieutenant Garrett McGill. Congratulations, Lieutenant Briana Rogers. Congratulations, Lieutenant Alexandra Sears. Congratulations, Lieutenant Cameron Silver. Congratulations, Lieutenant Thomas Smith. Congratulations, Lieutenant Mara Royse. Congratulations, Lieutenant Ronin Tamez. Congratulations, Lieutenant Benjamin Taulli. For the next item on our itinerary, we will need everyone's help, a collective effort, as they say. To minimize any lagging issues, please turn off your videos and microphones now. We will now show the Public Affairs Squadron's video of our new lieutenants.
Come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, the things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you. Found another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. Now talk about them and the values, all that we got. Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you can be with me for the last ride. Without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. what we started. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Rush you both, go out your way, and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brotherhood comes first, and the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we be. So remember me when I'm gone. After we got to talk about family, when family's all that we got. Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be looking for the last one. Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go. And every road you take. Always leads you home. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Before we conclude our ceremony, Colonel Tombarge will provide closing remarks.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the Special Events Squadron for planning and organizing today's activities, especially those who played key roles in the virtual ceremony. Second Lieutenant Alexandra Sears, who served as the Mission Support Group Commander. Second Lieutenant Briana Rogers, who served as the Special Events Squadron Commander. Special Events Officers, Second Lieutenant Mara Royse and Second Lieutenant Angela Kvitek. Second Lieutenant Ronin Tamez, who produced the commissionee playing cards and video montage. Our MC, Cadet Nicole Mauricio, and our Zoom technician, Cadet Kayla Shin. Admiral Inman, Lieutenant General Eickmann, Major General Wizian, Colonel Koester, Mr. Cooper, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for taking the time today to witness this fantastic event. Although it would have been great if we could have all been here together in person, the silver lining is that having a virtual ceremony actually enabled some of you to participate when you may not have been otherwise able to do so. And we will now have a recording of today's ceremony for posterity. I hope that we can get together in person in the fall, and I can meet some of you at that time and get these lieutenants back together again before they depart into the big blue. Lieutenants, congratulations. You're now officers in the world's finest Air Force, and you're ready for takeoff. As you begin your careers, remember that you are our nation's future. Whether it's in the skies above or on the ground below, you will be breaking barriers every day. As the hangar doors open and you prepare to depart, I will leave you with a short video clip to inspire your takeoff. Cadet Shin, will you please play the video?
America's future will be determined by your dreams and your visions.
For some of you will travel where no man has ever traveled before. Some of you will fly the fastest planes that have ever been built. Reach the highest altitude that man has ever gone to.
Whether you serve in the skies above or on the ground below, each of you has stepped forward to defend the country. The American people support you. They are counting on you, and they believe you truly do represent the best of America.
Thank you, Colonel Tombarge, for the inspiration. Now please join us with the playing of the Eyes of Texas. Last but definitely not least, the Air Force song. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I did not realize I was muted during the introduction, so I just wanted to let you know that it was an honor being your MC today and also welcoming you to the University of Texas at Austin's Air Force Commissioning Ceremony. Although we could not celebrate our commissionees in person, we were pleased to have you with us today virtually. Additionally, the entirety of this ceremony will be recorded and available for viewing on our YouTube and Facebook pages anytime on or after 23 May 2020. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you all for attending to support our newest officers. Please join me in another round of applause for our newly commissioned lieutenants and those who made this ceremony happen.
And congratulations to all the new second lieutenants.
Thank you, Admiral. Now, Colonel Tombarge, back to you.
All right, thank you once again for participating in today's ceremony, and congratulations to the Air Force's newest lieutenants, as well as their families. You've all put in a lot of hard work over the past 4 years. You have much to be proud of, and I know that you'll make us proud in the future. This concludes today's event. I wish you all a fantastic weekend. Thank you.